believe we should be starting now. I hope you can see the screen. So, if Ananya can confirm.
Yes, the screen is visible.
Okay. So, hello everyone. First of all, I would like to welcome you all in the Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador Workshop. Um, this is a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador Workshop where we'll be covering introduction to open source, Git and GitHub. So we are Ankur Gupta and Ananya Singhal. We both are Alpha Microsoft Learn Student Ambassadors. We would like to welcome you all in the workshop. Um, as the workshop, we'll be covering various aspects on open source, how to use Git, how to create your account in GitHub, and how to make meaningful contributions. Also, in the end, we'll be covering various open source programs such as GSOC, Google Summer of Code, Girl Script Summer of Code, and much more. I hope you will all enjoy the session. So, first of all, I would like to share something about myself. So, I am Ankur Gupta. I am an Alpha Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador. I am a fresher at the University Institute of Technology, RGPU Bhopal. Currently, I am exploring various things. I have worked in web development as well as I am currently working in app development through Flutter. And other than that, I am an open source contributor. I have contributed in JavaScript Summer of Code, Maxili Spring of Code, and various other programs. I am also an active contributor in MLH, that is Major League Hacking. You can connect with me through LinkedIn. I have provided my LinkedIn ID here, and as well as I will provide that in the chat box. I would like you all to interact in the chat box. I would very much like this to be an interactive session. I would also like if you all can ask any doubt related to holes to anything in the session. Um, I'm just sharing my LinkedIn account so that you all can connect here. So now about the workshop. Also now I would like to invite Ananya to share something about herself. So over to you, Ananya.
Hey everyone, hope you all are doing well. I'm Ananya Singhal, a fresher at Shivnada University, and I'm also an Alpha Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador along with Ankur. I'm so glad you all could join us today. A quick overview about the session. I'll be telling you guys about the MLSA program and some of its benefits and how to apply for it. And from there on, my co host Ankur will take you guys along on an open source adventure. And tomorrow at 5 p.m., we would have another meeting planned for you guys where I'll be covering artificial intelligence from the very beginning. And at the end, we will make a hands on model using OpenCV, which detects face on turning on your webcam. So, over to Ankur.
Thanks a lot, Ananya, for joining in. I hope you all are excited for the session. We both are very much excited for this. So first of all, I would like to share what we'll be covering in the session and how you can get most of it. So first of all, we'll begin the session by shedding some light on Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador Program, how you can apply for Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador Program. After that session, we'll be covering introduction to open source, what exactly open source is. Then we'll be covering with setting up a GitHub account and something about GitHub Student Developer Pack, which I would like if all of you can apply for. Then we'll be making our first contribution through GitHub. It will be a hands-on workshop. So I would like if you all can follow along with me in the session. And we'll be using Git and VS Code GitHub extension to directly make GitHub contributions. And there is no prerequisite for that. We'll start just from beginning by creating the GitHub account to the end by looking in some open source repositories and making some contributions. So in the end, we will be also covering open source programs and benefits like GSOC, Google Summer of Code, and much more. We'll also have a quick Q&A session at the end. So I hope this is clear to you. Now I would like to invite Ananya to start the session by shedding some light on Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador Program, what exactly it is, and how you all can apply for it. Over to you, Ananya.
I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, Ananya.
Okay, so Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador Program is a program to bring together all the students from all over the world who have the passion for technology, have the desire and craze to learn more about the technology and help the community. So the ambassadors get an opportunity to interact with their peers, mentors, professionals, and learn various Microsoft technologies and implement it in the real world. Let's quickly go through the eligibility criteria. You must be at least 16 years or old and have a valid identification with and be actively enrolled in an accredited highly education academic institution. Some of the experience and should have some experience in coding or technology, but don't worry if you don't have much of a technical background, because students of all academic backgrounds who are interested in growing their careers and tech skills are encouraged to apply for this program. And also the tools and resources are provided so you all can learn along the way. Next, let's go through some of the benefits of being a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador. You get access to Microsoft 365, you get Visual Studio Enterprise, you also get some exam certification vouchers, then LinkedIn Learning, which is a great platform to enhance your skills as they have highly reputed courses there. Then we have free name.com domain available, then event support and engagement with the cloud advocates. But I believe the most important benefit is that you get to be a part of a global community with people of your age who are all passionate about technology. One of the most special things I love about this program is that we get to learn so much, grow our careers and technical skills. And whenever we learn, we share it among our peers by hosting events. Now, a basic understanding of how the program works is that you first get this batch, which is a student ambassador batch, as soon as you get enrolled in the program. Then we advance to the alpha milestone, then the beta, and then the gold. And some of the benefits along the way are written here. Now let's look at how to apply for the same. So you can apply for this program through this link. Ankur can drop this link on the chat box. And once you are logged in, you will be introduced to a personal info page. You need to fill all the details very carefully. Then we go to the step 3, which is basically you have to write your country, state name, degree program, etc. And then comes the main section, which is the written sample. So in the written sample, you're supposed to basically, the questions are divided into 3 parts: that inspire, teach, and promote. So some of the tips which I used while filling my application was that make sure your answers are honest and genuine. Try to explain why you are passionate about technology and what makes you inspire in your best way. This is very important. Second, mention all your achievements. Okay, don't be afraid to write, don't write some of them. So mention all of them, including the projects you are working on or have completed. What are the programming languages you have learned? Some competitions or workshops you have taken part, and some of the events you might have organized when you were in high school. So feel free to write all of those. Then take an example and explain how you would teach that topic, a technical topic, to your peer. This is for the teach section, which tells you how would you teach a technical concept and teach it to a friend or peer that never heard of it. So be genuine, think of some of the ideas you might like to put in while explaining the topic. And then the last question is that if you're hosting an event, then how will you promote it? So you can think of creative ways of promoting an event by putting a post on LinkedIn or making a video for it, making banners for it. So be creative with your answers. Also, one more thing is that you can answer these questions in video format as well, because the link, you can provide a link to your video presentation, and at least one of the question has to be answered through a video. So I would encourage you, if you can answer all the 3 questions with a video, so that the viewer knows that how much passion you have. That's it for okay, and after this there's a step 6 as well. Once completing the form, you are supposed to fill out your social media section. So mention all the technologies you are interested in, and if you think there are some additional information you would want them to know, then add it in the section below. And this completes the application form. If you have any doubts or questions, feel free to contact me or Ankur, or you can ask it in the Q&A section as well. Thank you. Over to Ankur.
Thanks a lot, Ananya. It was a really informative section on MLSA. So I would like to share my screen now. I hope the screen is visible.
Yeah, it's visible.
So as Ananya have talked about Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador Program, how you can apply. Also, if you have a website or if you are writing anything like blog or creating any videos, you feel free to share anything you have done before in technological field. Microsoft, they really encourage such things. So now, after this informative section, I would like to begin our session with introduction to open source. First of all, I would like to start with what exactly open source is. So consider there are many kind of software which we use in our daily life. Microsoft Teams, which is by which we are currently hosting this event, is a software. Anything else, even programming languages such as Python, C++, Flutter, anything else, they all are written in a particular language. Okay, so they all have a code base attached to them. So any of them can be open source, and there are many other ways too in which they can be created. So first of all, on a broad basis, there are three kind of software which we can consider. This is just for demo purposes. There is proprietary kind of software. These kind of softwares are which are copyrighted. You cannot see their code. You cannot distribute them. You cannot own a Microsoft Windows and you distribute it to your friends. Okay, I have Microsoft Windows. I am the creator and I am distributing them to all. You can't do that. So this is a proprietary kind of software for which you may need a product key or a subscription to use them, such as Microsoft Windows, Adobe Photoshop. Then there are freewares. So freeware are the kind of software which are free to use. Okay, you can use them for free, like Google Chrome. Most of us use Google Chrome. It is free to use, but you cannot see its source code, like exactly the code in which the whole software is written. Then there is open source. So open source is basically something which gives you everything. It is free to use. You can even modify its code. You can distribute it as well, depending on the license. There are various open source licenses which permits the user to modify the source code and distribute them too. So whole source code is available. You can check their code. You can definitely use them in any way you want. You can modify them. You can check their source code. You can even change their code. For example, consider you are using VLC media player. Okay, so VLC, if you think there is a problem in VLC media player that you consider is not good, you consider it's bad. So you can just go to its source code. You change the code. You can change the whole visibility of how that software can look like. It is such a nice feature. You can see the source code. You can change anything. So open source is basically source code that is made freely available for possible modification and redistribution. So products include permission to use the source code, design document, or content of the product. So now delving deeper into the open source world, we'll be starting with what exactly GitHub is, and then we'll cover what exactly GitHub Education Pack is, which is something I would encourage you all to apply for. So GitHub is basically a code hosting platform for version control and collaboration. So consider you have a code, like you created a website, okay, and now you like to share that website's code with someone else. It's not necessary that you need to share that code with everyone. You can even create a private repository where just you and your friend can see the code. Okay, like I have a website which I'm currently working on, so I can just share that code with only my friends who are working with me, and we all can collaborate. We all can code together on in the website using GitHub, and it lets you and others all over the world work together on projects from anywhere. So we will just go to GitHub link. Ananya will share the link on the chat section. If you did not have a GitHub account, I would very much encourage you to create a GitHub account, and we'll be doing that too. So if you don't have a GitHub account, go for it. This is a hands-on workshop, and I would like if you all can follow along. So first of all, if you did not have an account, you just go to this sign up section. You create a fancy username, like anything you want, like abracadabra, okay, whatever. So any username, any email address, your email address, then you solve a puzzle. You just pick the spiral galaxy and you click create account, and that's how you can just create a GitHub account. It's as simple as that. Okay. So now, as I already have an account, I will just sign in my GitHub account. I will use my username Ankur132. I will put my password, and I will just oh sorry. So, and I will just sign in. So after signing in, this is how GitHub looks like. So um, on this is like the home page of GitHub. So at the beginning, there are developers. Consider I have a friend or anyone else anywhere in the world whom I consider he is a very good developer. I follow him very much. Like I would like to know which project he's contributing to. I would like to know about his work. So I could just search for his username. Like consider Ananya. I would search for for her username, like reach Ananya. I would search the GitHub, and I go to the users panel, and there I can find Ananya. So I can just go to her profile. I could check her works. This V Shop, fitness website, they all are just like repositories. Repositories, you can consider them like projects. Anything we are working on, can you can create them as a repository in GitHub. So you can follow them, you can unfollow them. I would like to know which things Ananya is working on. So I followed her, and just by following her, I get to know all the contributions she's making. Okay, so I have a team, so and that team moved that even currently. So I can just follow anything that team is doing. So it is just like you can interact with developers, you can check all the work they are doing. It is a good motivational factor as well. We can check which repositories they are starring. Starring is basically just like a like button. I would give some more light on that. So now, before going deeper, I would like to also share you something about GitHub Education Pack. So for that, we will just go to education.github.com. Ananya would probably share the link in chat box. So this is GitHub Student Developer Pack. This is something which gives you so much benefits as a developer, or just as in whatever field you're doing. Example, if you are a graphic designer, so just by applying to GitHub Student Developer Pack, you get access to 12-month free subscription of Canvas Free Tire. It is a great tool. Similarly, there are so many other things like you get $100 platform in DigitalOcean, you get a free domain for 1 year, you get a name.com domain, you get $100 in Azure. These are all the services you can avail just by there is no requirement. You just need to be a student to apply for GitHub Student Developer Pack. As I already as I'm already a pro member, so I'm logging out, and then I would go back to applying for the form. So I just go to get your pack. Then there are benefits mentioned like you are a student. So as a student, these are all the things which you can get. You get GitHub Pro while you are a student. You get GitHub Student Developer Pack. And then you can just go to click get student benefits. Uh, this is the application. Uh, consider if you haven't really applied, you just go to this link. You apply for GitHub Student Developer Pack. To apply, all you need is an email address. It can be your university's email address. They prefer university's email address. But other than that, if your university somehow does not provide an email address, you can use your own email address. You use the name of your school. You tell them how do you plan to use GitHub, and on the next screen, you need to submit a verified university document. In my case, I use the admission slip of my university. So just by that, you can avail GitHub Student Developer Pack. Um, Regarding benefits, I would like to just have some more information. You get DigitalOcean, you get Canva. It's about more than 50 things which you can get just by applying for the GitHub Student Developer Pack. You get Heroku, you get Unity, you get .NET domains, and there are much more like Atom, which is a IDE text editor. Uh, you get subscription to Typeform, you get Repl.it, and much more. So this is GitHub Student Developer Pack. If you haven't applied, I would encourage you all to apply for GitHub Student Developer Pack. So now for the next session of the workshop, um, I would show you how you can make your first contribution through GitHub and using Git and VS Code extension. But before that, I would also like to show what exactly you can do with GitHub. So consider there are many open source projects like Python. I hope you all are aware with Python. It is a programming language. So Python is an open source language. So what exactly you mean by open source language is that you on GitHub you search for C Python. Um, you search all of the GitHub. You get an official repository by Python or .org itself. Python/C Python. In this repository, you can see whole source code in which Python language itself is written. And isn't it great? Like you are working on a language, and you can also see in which code that language itself is written. That's the benefit of being an open source language. You can check the whole language. You can even check its development. Like this is just recently 3 hours ago, a request has been submitted to Python.org. So that means just 3 hours ago, a recent development has been made in Python language itself. You can check whole of the development, how that language is going. You can check its code, and more than that, you can even contribute to the language development. Consider you found a bug in Python. Consider you want to create a library with Python. You can do all of that because it is an open source repository. It is very easy to do all these things. So you go to pull request. You make a pull request. We'll shed more on this later on. So that's it. More than that, I would like to show some other organizations and softwares as well, such as let's go to Flutter. So Flutter is a cross-platform native cross-platform framework which is used to make native apps. So it is maintained by Google. So this is the Flutter repository. So in similar way to Python, you can check the source code of Flutter language itself. You can check its development. Like recently, 8 hours ago, the language there is some development done in the language. You can check commits. There are 23,000 commits. Commits are like changes done in the language. So this is the Flutter official repository, as you can see. There is a nice documentation as well. Also, if you consider like for contributing to Flutter, you don't know anything about Flutter. You don't know anything. So what you can do is you can even contribute to its documentation. You use Flutter, and there is a very nice documentation of Flutter. If you think there is something that should be changed in the documentation, you can even contribute to documentation. So the main benefit, one of the benefit of contributing to open source is that you did not need a particular language to be proficient in open source. You can contribute to anything. Like you can even contribute to documentation. And there is even a very nice open source program known as Google Summer of Docs. In that program, you just need to contribute to documentation, and they also provide a good stipend, as far as I can remember. So these are very nice things which you can do with any open source program. Other than Flutter, let's jump into some more open source repositories. Also, one thing I would like to say, so consider this is Flutter, and you found a bug in Flutter. Okay, so there is this nice issue tab. So you go to issue, you submit an issue which you are facing with the language. Okay, consider there is any problem which you are facing with the Flutter language itself. It does not mean that it needs to be code oriented. It can be anything. Imagine you are just having a problem in installing Flutter. Even that you can put on as a new issue. There is this nice category also. The first is itself what I told. I am having difficulty installing Flutter or getting it to work. You just press get started. You submit an issue. Issue is just like problem in a way, like problems you are facing with the language. So I have a problem with my Flutter application. Or if you think there is this nice thing which I think should be there in Flutter language, you press this feature request button. Let's just do that. We press the feature request button. We tell them the title of our request. Consider I would like to add something in Flutter. Um, I'm just looking for a nice example, like uh, anything. Okay. I would like to add this in Flutter. Please use this to write anything you would like to add in Flutter. You There is this nice documentation as well. If you are looking for support, you go to flutter.dev, etc. So in this way, you write the problem which you are facing, and then you write your proposal. Like I would like to add this thing in Flutter. In this way, you are indirectly working on Flutter, which is a Google maintained project. Okay, so this is such a nice way to work on real life projects and to contribute much more. That's how you can do that. Imagine you put this issue, then you can create a pull request. Pull request is like you make the code changes and you like to push that code changes in the original repository. So you create a pull request. Similar way, let's consider VLC Media Player. It is also an open source program. So we'll just search for VLC Media Player. This is VLC. So this is also an open source program. So you can, in a similar way, you can check whole code and you can do much more. So what we'll do now is I have a repository which through this repository, I would like you all to make your first GitHub contribution. And in this way, we'll learn more about GitHub and Git, which is a version control system used by GitHub. Both are very different things, which we'll also learn later. So this is a repository. I would like to mention this in the chat box as well. So, okay, so here is GitHub repository. So now what we'll do is I will log in through my another account. I have an organization account, so through which I will log in. Then I would just go to my repository. I already proved that one. Okay, so this is the repository in which I would like to contribute. Okay, so I would like to add something in this repository. So what I would do is, first of all, I would fork that repository. So forking that repository will mean that I would like to take that repository in my own account. Okay, so before making changes directly to the original repository, you first make that repository, you first transfer that repository in your own account. So I fork that repository. And then there are various ways in which we can contribute to we can use the source code. So what I'll do is first of all we will use Git bash. So I'll search for Git. Uh, I just search download Git. Uh, then I'll go to the download link. It is around 47 MB, I guess. So in this way, you can just download Git. I have already installed Git. So it is basically a command line feature through which you can take this repository in your own system and make changes. So what is Git? Now we'll look on with Git. So Git is a version control system. It is used to track changes in computer files and used to help coordinate work among several people on a project while tracking progress. So imagine you and your friend are working on a project. So your friend is working on something else and you are working on something else. So by using Git, you and your friends can contribute to the same project using different systems, and you can collaborate with each other. It is a very nice tool. And Git and GitHub are very different things. Simply put, Git is a version control system. We'll get to know more about it as we contribute, as we clone our repository and make some Git and use some Git commands. Uh, and lets you manage and keep track of your source code history. Imagine there's a code and you want to make some changes in that. So to make that changes, you use Git. GitHub is actually a cloud-based hosting service. Initially, I don't contribute to open source. Initially, I use GitHub just to share my projects with my friends. So GitHub is a cloud-based hosting service that lets you manage Git repositories. Okay, so now we'll make our first contribution using Git. So first of all, I have this repository which I have recently forked. Okay, so I would just go to this code panel. I copy this MSLA event link. This is a .git link which you can use to basically get this project in your own system. Okay, you are downloading the whole code in your own system. So to do that, I'll just first of all I open my Windows PowerShell as I have already installed Git. Before using this Git command, you need to install Git bash, which I have shown you. You just download that link and you install Git. Okay. So first of all, I would like um, to uh, get this repository in my own system. So for that, I use the command git clone. Clone is basically I'm cloning this whole repository in my own system, and then I paste that link which I have copied. This link can be you can get this link here. It can be any repository. It's not necessary that you use this repository. You just git clone that repository and press enter. In this way, you can clone the whole repository. Now, after cloning, we would like our basic aim is to make some changes in the code. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll open Visual Studio Code and I will add a new line or anything in my open source in my repository. Okay. So let me just check which path I use. Mm, So this is the folder which I have recently cloned. Um, Okay, so now you can see whole of my repository. So this is a basic quiz which I have created just for this workshop. If you are willing to contribute, you can just follow along with what I'm doing right now. You can write the answers here, like which of the following is an open source software. You take the correct one. This is a markdown file. So how basically you use markdown is that whole of this is actually shown as a checkbox in checkbox. So to tick that, you remove that space and you press X. So X is how. So this is how you can tick on a markdown file. I'll provide a whole markdown cheat sheet after the session, so it can be easier for you. Uh, right now, I don't want to change that. I would like to answer the last question. Who can contribute to open source? Uh, I would like to add answer everyone. Okay, so I'll just change this answer. Imagine this is a code, and you add a line in that code. You make a simple bug change or anything. You made a simple bug fix or anything. You In a similar way here, what we are doing is we are adding this answer here. Um, that's it. I changed my code. Now I would like to change this code in the original repository. So this change is only visible in my system currently. So from my system, I would like to make the change visible to everyone. So I would just go to my folder directly cd mlsa events. Then I'll use git status to first of all track the changes which I have done. Like I have made a change in open source quiz.md file. This is the only file which I've changed. So now this file is staying only in my local system. Now I would like to add that repository in my Git. So for that I would use git add, and I can use this open source quiz.md. In this way, imagine you have done a lot of changes. So instead of pressing just one single file, you just use git add dot. By pressing git add dot, um, you can track whole of the repository. So right now I'll just go to open source quiz.md. And I added it. Okay, so now if I check git status, it will show that this is a change which is staged in my local repository. Um, it is modified. You can even check the colors have changed. So now you would like to change the original GitHub repository. You are working in your system PowerShell, but you would like to change the code here in this GitHub repository. So what you do is you make a commit, and with that commit you add a commit message. So for that we press git commit /m, which is the shorthand for message. Then you write what changes you have done. So what I have done is that I have added a new answer. So it can be anything you have done. Like if you have fixed the bug, you can use git commit add /m and change this bug. Solve this bug. It can be anything. So right now I have added a new answer. So I just press enter, and that's it. Added a new answer has been changed. One file changed. You can see what exactly has been changed, how many lines you have changed. Then you push that code to your original GitHub repository, in which you have forked. So for that, I used git push. Push is basically pushing the code. It's exactly like the original push was. Git push origin and main. So main is the main branch in which you are working on. It is um, um, I'm not I don't want to press much on branch section right now, but main is a default name which is provided by GitHub. It was master a few months ago. So you just press git push origin name, and that's it. You sign in your browser. I'm doing this for the first time using PowerShell. So I authentication succeeded, and that's it. So now if I just refresh this repository, uh, I can check a recent answer is added just 1 minute ago. Exactly what I did there. Added a new answer. So right now, as I added a new answer, I would create a pull request. So pull request. Now I have made a change in the repository which I have forked. Now I would like to add that change in the main repository. So for that, I just create a pull request. And I can also track the changes which I have done here. I press create a new pull request. You can also add a comment like with what thing exactly you have changed. So added an answer for the seventh question. That's it. And I press create pull request, and that's it. That's how you can create a whole pull request. So, yes, that's it. This is how you create a pull request. If whole of this Git thing sounds confusing to you, don't worry. I have a very easy solution in the what we are going to do next. So this is how this is one way as how you can make a change. Um, Other than that, let's do one more thing, like how you can do that. So I'll go to GitHub. I'll go to my repository, which I have recently changed. Okay, so that's it. Now I would like to make some changes, but this time using VS Code. I hope you all are familiar with Visual Studio Code. So now I'll show you how we can do the same thing using Visual Studio Code. So same way you copy that code, but now everything we'll do it's inside VS Code. So you open Visual Studio Code. There is a nice GitHub extension which you need to download. Like you go to extension, you search for GitHub. There is this nice extension on GitHub pull request and all that. So you install that extension, and by now uh, and then you press F1 and you press clone. So this is git clone, exactly like the git clone we done using command line. We are doing using VS Code. So I press this link. I clone that. I choose the location where I would want to clone that repository. Let's select my own folder. So that's it. I'm cloning, and I can open that. Okay, so no command line used. Just you can clone this repository using VS Code and GitHub extension. So now I would like to add another answer. Uh, any answer which I can use. Can we make a pull request directly from VS Code? That's exactly what you are doing right now. So I press X. I make a tick mark here, and that's it. I've done the change. Okay. Now, as I've done the change, you can see this M here. M means modified. That code is modified. So I will just go to this version control tab here. Um, if you remember, we used the git add command there. Now to make the same, using VS Code, we just press this plus button. This is staging the changes. Similar to using git add command in the command line, we just press this plus button here, and that's it. The change is staged. Then we used git commit m and make a commit message. So instead of doing all these things, I just write commit message here, added and answer. We press this commit message, and then we take this mark to commit it. That's it. The change has been committed. Now to push that change, we just press this push button here, and that's it. It is very much easier using VS Code. I've been using this. I've been doing this since a long time. So that's it. Now if I refresh here, that's it. I can just check this recent request 20 seconds ago. So it's as simple as that. Um, I hope if you all have followed along, it would be great. So we just made our first pull request, and now I would like to show you how we can look for meaningful repositories, how we can make our contributions, and and I would like to begin using the same. So I would go to issues tab here. First of all, I would go to my profile. Imagine I would like to work on something which is, and I am a beginner. Okay, so I just go to issues tab. This is the issues tab. I filter out some things here, like I would just like to check which issues are open. So I just press enter, and here you can check a lot of issues which are currently open. imagine I am a beginner, so I can add a label of beginner here. So label beginner. That's how now you can get a whole section of issues which beginners can contribute to, like add a profile section. So this is a project. Like let's just search, keep exploring. That's how you make open source contributions. You just keep exploring on issues. Then there is another way of open source programs which I'll show you in a while. So you add a profile picture here. This is just an issue. You would just comment like that. I would like to work on this issue. First of all, before sending this message, you should consider what changes you should be doing, and if you can do these changes or not. You just press I would like to work on this issue. You add a comment there, and if the repository maintainer thinks that you are eligible, he will assign this issue to you, and you can work on this project. The main benefit is that you get to work on a real life project. Like this project must be live somewhere, and the change you are making will be recently changed in the main live channel. So in this way, you can really track your changes which you are doing, which I believe is a very nice way. So in this way, you can search for open source repository, open for issues. Um, you can there are various other labels like label wood first issue. Uh, there is also some nice repositories um, by Free Code Camp or many others which encourage beginners. So in this way, you can make your first contribution just by um, searching for a particular label which you feel like. Imagine you just want to contribute to documentation. So you use the label of documentation. You search for documentation issues like add documentation example, and there is so much more here. You can just go to any of this issue which we find is eligible, and you and that's it. That's how you make a documentation. That's how you can change the documentation to. Uh, this is so much easier, and I would like this. So also, another way to contribute to open source program and repositories is through open source programs. So there are many open source programs which are currently going on, and especially during summer, and they kept many programs are there which keep happening throughout the year. So this is a very useful repository which I have recently found. I would also like to add this repository link in the section here. So this is a repository link where you can find a lot of open source programs like Season of Docs. It is Google Season of Docs. This is also a very nice program in which Google encourages you to make changes in documentation. If you are a technical writer or if you write some blogs or anything, you can contribute to Google Season of Docs. Um, this is Google Season of Docs. Similar to that, there are many other open source programs as well, such as Mozilla Winter of Security, Outreach program, the Google Summer of Code program, and there are much more. Like this is a big list. FOSS Asia Summer Internship Program is also nice. You can even participate in such internships program by making open source contributions. Um, this is FOSSIA internship program. So you just fill this form, and if they are interested, they will contact you. You also need to make some open source contributions before directly filling up this form. This is Google Summer of Code. I hope many of you are aware of Google Summer of Code. So in Google Summer of Code, imagine you are a Python developer. Okay, so you like to work in Python. You are a good contributor to Python. So you go to this organization panel, you search for Python. So that's it. In this way, you can get a whole lot of repositories which uses Python. There is even Python language itself. As I told you, it is an open source language. There's Django, which is a web framework. There are many other such repositories created just using Python. This is Opia Foundation. There is much more. There is Blender, which is also created using Flutter. So imagine I would like to contribute to Blender Foundation in Google Summer of Code. So what I'll do is I'll go to this Blender Foundation. But before doing that, this must be done very much prior to the original deadline of the project, because before that you need to contribute to Blender Foundation repositories, you need to contribute to their software, and you need to have some good have a good idea, have a good proposal of which things you would like to change in Blender software. Like imagine you would like to add something in Blender software. Like this is a feature which I would like to work on, and I would like to add in Blender Foundation. So I would just so you can just go to this blender.org website. You can chat with them. There is a nice mailing list, contact email. You press chat, you will be redirected to blender.chat, where officially Blender the developers used to chat with each other. There's this nice community where you can talk with other developers, you can get some good suggestions, you can get how you can contribute, you can you basically that's the benefit of open source, that you get to interact with a whole lot of community, with a like-minded, with a set of like-minded people. So you just go to this blender.org uh, org chat, and you can see this is a very interactive people they have. Um, in similar way, there are so many other repositories and organizations which you can contribute to in Google Summer of Code, as well as in other code. Google Summer of Code also has a good stipend for you. Like if you go to about section, uh, you can check past projects, you can check proposals. There are so many other things which you can do with through Google Summer of Code. You can also get to interact with a nice community. I'm also a contributor in GulfScript Summer of Code, so I would also like to share how GulfScript Summer of Code interaction looks like, how their community is. So okay, so GulfScript Summer of Code must be here. So there is this is GSSF 21. So this is the official channel of GulfScript Summer of Code, where people used to interact with each other. Imagine you are working on a project and you would like to talk with the mentor of that project, the person who has originally created that project. So through these programs, you get to interact with these people themselves. There is this announcement section where we will be where there are nice workshops too, which are organized by GulfScript. Other than that, there is this project section. You basically go to their website, you search for this project, you search for a project which are similar to the languages in which you used to work, and then you search for. Imagine I am working on this FOSS event repository. So I'll just go to their chat section. Imagine if I have added a pull request, I would just type there that I have added a pull request. Kindly look forward to it. Similar, like please review my PR. There is this PR number also, which is provided under GitHub. You can also add labels to it. And there is much more. There are so many open source organizations, projects. You get to interact with their whole community, and this is such a nice way if you are a beginner and you just like to make your first contribution to, or you just like to delve more into the open source world. You get to participate in this. You should participate in this open source programs. This is a very nice way. So this is how you can contribute to the whole open source world. And now to proceed with the workshop, uh, this is some open source program and benefit. About benefit, I would like to um, use this slide. So you get hands-on experience with working on a live project. Like if you are working on Blender, imagine. So you make a request in Blender, you change their code, your pull request got accepted, and then whole of what you have done can be you can see whole change live in the official Blender software. Imagine this is such a nice thing, like you work and you get to see your changes live on their software. So you also get a good stipend in some programs. There are some cool sweats also which you can get. Currently, I'm wearing a MLS T-shirt. It looks cool. So you get there is a nice community and connection building opportunity which I've shown you. You just go to their interactive chat section. You interact with people. Um, Also, a small contribution makes a big difference to millions of users. Imagine you've done a simple contribution, and there are millions of users who used to use this software. So, a little change of yours get to be all of these people can see the little change you have done, which is such a nice thing. And no necessary coding required. As I told, you can even contribute to um, documentation or anything. It can be anything. That's it. Uh, Now I would like to have an interactive Q&A session. If you have anything you would like to ask or anything else, please share in the chat box. Um, if there's anything you would like to share, I would love to answer your questions. Um, Anything, I'm willing to answer your questions. Anything you want to ask regarding GSOC, Gulf State Summer of Code, you can even unmute your mic if you would like to. Um, let's see. Okay, so I believe there are no doubts if that was the case. Thanks a lot, Palak. Thanks a lot for joining in. This is my first session actually as a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador, and I would really encourage you all to apply for that. It is a really nice program. So, thanks a lot, Abhishek. So, if you don't have any queries, okay, one thing more I would like to share. Like this is GitHub. Like if you've done a GitHub contribution, okay, there's this repository which I have created, MLSA events. Okay, so imagine I have done lots of changes to this repository. So how does our system know which change you have done? This is a doubt which I think many people have actually. So I had this doubt earlier actually. So I would like to share that. So imagine this is an MLSA event section. This is the repository which I have recently posted in GitHub. So uh, so uh, so all the changes you are making, like you use the git clone, you use git clone, you use git commit. How are all these changes managed in the folder itself? So to do that, actually in the folder, if we press this hidden item, there is this .git repository, .git directory. This directory actually holds all the command which you have used. It actually stores all that history, command history, and this is how all of this works. So I actually have this doubt. So uh, I would uh, I would love to share that. Uh, okay, so okay, so Sister Kanwa has the same doubt, I believe. What is this unit? So Palak Jain. Okay. So how should we begin with open source contribution? This is a nice doubt. I get that a lot. So to begin with, simply make your first contribution. Even the repository which I have shared, you all can use this repository to make your first contribution. Feel free to change anything. Like if you like to add any question, you can just create a issue here. Like okay, so let me do that actually. Like this is my repository, MLSA event. I would just go to this issue tab. I would add a new issue. Imagine I would like to add a new question. So in the issue, I press I would like to add a new question. Okay. And that's it. Leaving a comment, I can leave any question which I have. Okay. So the same question. Uh, how to make first GitHub contribution. Okay. So I would like to add the question how to make first GitHub contribution. I submit this issue. Okay, all of you can do that. You can change anything in this code. Please feel free. Then, as I am the owner, I am actually the owner of this repository, so I can assign this issue to myself also. There should be this nice. I can quote. I can reply to this repository. I can assign myself. Just assign yourself, right? And that's it. I'm working on this issue right now. So I just made any changes. I would go to this repository. I make changes. And now to officially make some meaningful changes, you can search for, there are two ways as I told, and there are also other ways too. So you go to the you go to the issue section. You search for some meaningful issues there. Like imagine you work on HTML. Okay, you are a web developer, so you use label HTML here. Then you get to know various repositories which uses HTML. You can contribute to them. There are some simpler issues as well. You can merge labels too, like label beginner and HTML. So here you can find various other repositories as well. So this is how you can find one. Other than that, you can participate in various open source programs such as Gulf Script Summer of Code, and this is a big list. And they kept running throughout the year. There are many programs which are very active. MLH is also one such platform which they host hackathons weekly. I used to participate in MLH hackathons a lot. So you can participate in MLH hackathons. Um, that should be there. Also, there is this nice community where you can interact with other people. You can share your thoughts. You can share your technical knowledge. You get to learn many things. Uh, MLH is one such platform. Other than that, there are so many other platforms to which you can begin your open source contribution. And then if you are pro in anything, imagine Palak, you are a Python developer. Okay, you used to code in Python a lot. So you just search for Python programs, Python organizations. You work for some time with their code, and then you may sometimes think that there is this thing that should be there in that code. So you work on that problem. You add a issue there, and that's it. That's how you can contribute there, and that's it. Also, there are many other questions which I have received in my forms response, which I would like to share. Most of them include the same, like how you can make your contributions. Other than that, uh, how to start contributing in open source, how beginners can use Git. I hope I have covered all of them. If there is anything like that is remaining, please feel free to write it in the chat box. Um, a suggestion in the field of branch so that we can align our target. And you don't need to be of any particular branch to actually contribute to open source. They don't ask your college, they don't ask your branch. You can be anyone and you can contribute to open source. So, what is web development and difference in Git? So web development is actually different. You create websites basically. GitHub.com is a website. Creating websites is web development. And difference in Git. So Git and GitHub are different things. Git is a version control system. This is how you manage your code history. This is GitHub is used to change your code history, and GitHub is actually storage. Uh, Similarly, there are many other platforms as well, alternate to GitHub, such as Heroku. You can host your code on Heroku as well. Heroku also uses Git. So Git is basically there is also a nice history on how Git is created. Actually, Linus Torvalds, which is the creator of Linux Foundation, he created Git also. So actually, he was working on Linux projects, and he was having difficulty in managing so many different kind of changes. So to manage all these kind of changes, he created Git language. So Git is not a language. Sorry for that. He created Git. So this is a very nice. Actually, this is a very nice history behind that. Um, Please share us Git commands. So I think I will share this. I will share a whole Git cheat sheet in the mail you will receive after the session. Uh, it was a great session. Thanks a lot, Athar. Git commands. I'll share a cheat sheet with you later on. That's it. I hope you all have enjoyed the session. So I believe we should end the session now. Ananya, if you have anything to say,
Yeah, I believe Vikram has a doubt. His hand is raised. Vikram,
Vikram.
you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
Uh, Wait, wait. I just allowed you to unmute. You can unmute now, Vikram. Uh, I guess there is no response.
Sir, the voice is not clear, so I had some issues in some topics.
Oh, sure, Vikram. You can contact me later on if you wish so. You can contact me personally, or if you like to, if there is some specific doubt, you can ask it right now. Or if there is any other problem, you can personally message me later on. I shared my LinkedIn link. You can contact me through there. Anything you can wish.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So I think that's it for the session. I hope you all enjoyed the session. Thank you for joining in. And I think we should end the meeting now.